for May the 2nd. I think that's today. Let me see. Yep, May the 2nd. Psalms 62:7. He is my rock and my salvation. I've got that on my refrigerator in the kitchen, and I've had it for years. I will not be shaken. My salvation and my honor depend on God. He is my mighty rock, my refuge. This verse speaks of God as a source of strength, and that's what he is. He's a source of strength to me. So anyhow, I just depend on him, and y'all know that. And he leads and directs my path. So anyhow, I ask him to do that every day. James and I do. So anyway, this morning, I want to tell you what happened last night. Last night, I was at home at James's house. I had my coffee. And you know I got a donut too, but I'm not going to eat it right now. I don't like to watch people eat on YouTube. I'm going to eat it later. I'm treating my feet. And I got, isn't this beautiful? I just love it. You know, we could just sit by the stream, and we had a creek down in Mink Holler, and we also had one in Smith Holler where I lived when I was a little girl. One grandma lived in Mink Holler, the other grandma lived in Smith Holler. Daddy's mother lived in Smith Holler because she was a smith. And all the Smiths lived up in the mountain above the holler. And we lived in the holler part, down at the bottom of the mountain. And that in Virginia, in Mink Holler, it was named after the Minks family that had the first house as you came in the road to Mink Holler. Oh, where was that? Oh, yeah, what happened last night? So I was home over at James's house. James and I was talking this morning, and he said that his friend, 967 Andy, who helps me with my YouTube, said to him, he said, you know, Grandma, he calls me Grandma because, you know, and he's only like 65 or something. He has that fishing, and he does all kinds of stuff, but he's a blessing. Anyway, he said, you don't know what she's going to talk about next. And she changes the subject right in the middle of a sentence. I said, but my girls, that people that watch me, they catch on. I said, James, you have a problem, but my daughters don't have no problem if I change the subject. I'll get back to it sooner or later, I guess. We hope. But what happened last night? I was over at James's house, sitting in my house dress. And all of a sudden, there was just me, Billie Jean. Now, he's got that cooking channel. Just me, Billie Jean. Check him out. He cooks. He's got some of the best recipes you ever looked at. But there was his face, and he was in a hat that was as cute as it could be because he was celebrating because it was Granny Pat's birthday. She's 89 years old yesterday. And he said, Lois, he said, we wanted to get together, me and you, and we're going to wish a happy birthday to Grandma. We're going to get her on the video, and we're going to be prepared. And he knows how, just me, Billie Jean, knows how to do all that techie stuff that me and Grandma don't know how to do. Well, I have always wanted to meet her in person because, you know, I watch her YouTube all the time and have for ages, you know, because she's an inspiration to me, and I've told her she is. So anyway, he said, well, I'm going to get her on. So he rings her iPad, nothing happens. So he rings again and again, nothing happens. And so then we practice singing happy birthday together, and neither one of us can sing worth anything. So anyway, he says, I'm going to try her home phone. He has her home phone. So finally he tried it, and guess what? There she came on. She got on with us. And we had a meeting and talked with each other. That was so much fun. Thank you, Just Me, Billie Jean. That's his YouTube channel. And I told him, I said, Billy, I've been forgetting to shout you out and tell people about you. I'm sorry about that. And I did forget it. I don't remember as well as I used to, but I did remember I had spare panties in a drawer over here. I mean, you buy stuff and you forget you got it. Well, I married James, and see, I have this house here, and in my apartment, and I have a chest of drawers in there, and I had blue jeans in it, and I had shirts, the kind you wear underneath, different colors, black and white, and several pair of panties. So Amazon, forget it. I'm fixed. So anyhow, I'm going to tell you this. Some girl commented that when her kids were grandkids and kids were small, she would buy them toys, and then when they got tired of them, she would put them where they couldn't find them. And then a few months later, she'd bring them out again, and it was like new all over again. Well, that's what happened to me and those panties I found in the drawer. So finally, back to Grandma chit-chat with Granny Pat. And so anyhow, we got her on, and she told us that she had been taking a nap. Well, now us senior citizens do take naps, but she said she had been out for a birthday party, and her daughter and her granddaughter and I don't know others. She's putting on a video about it. I looked at a little of it this morning, but I didn't get to see it all. But there, you look at her. She's got on her a derby hat, and she looks adorable. I'm going to wear a different derby hat every day because I have got so many in the closet that people have given me, and I have picked up here, there, and yonder, and I just stacked them in there. And I like this one for today. I wore this one to the wishing well. We went down there, and I like this scarf because it's brown, and it matches the trim. Isn't that cute? See that? So anyhow, we was talking and visiting, and we got to wish her happy birthday, 89 years old. She don't look it. She don't sound it. She's a go-getting woman, is what she is. And I admire her, and I got to tell her personally how I have enjoyed her books. And she said, well, I noticed I've been selling more books here lately. I said, I've been telling people about you, and your books are good. I said, fact is, my friend David from Texas has now sent me, I think it was him. Anyway, one of my good friends has sent me 2 of them, your first one and your last one. And I told her, your recipe book on my own. And it's got some good recipes in it. You can get them on Amazon for $15. So check her books out, because I tell you what, she had me laughing like crazy when I read that first one. The very first story was so good. So thank you, Grandma. You're not Grandma. You're Granny Pat, and I'm Grandma. I don't care if they call me. I'm Grandma. I'm 91 years old, going to be 92 in September. And so we got to say hello to just me, Billie Jean's mama. He's a caretaker for her. And she had already laid down. And he told me, he said, she just loves y'all. You know, me and Granny Pat. And so she said hello to us. And we said hello to her. It was a fun time. I just couldn't believe Billie Jean knows how to run all that stuff. I sure don't know how, and I don't know if he can teach me, but he did it. Well, so we was talking a while, and then all of a sudden they disappeared. And I was enjoying it so much, and I couldn't get nothing. And finally my phone was ringing. I have Wi-Fi on my phone, because I'm with T-Mobile, but I couldn't get it to work either. And it said something like, your Wi-Fi is out. My modem had shut off. T-Mobile I almost can't recommend them here in Indiana, New Albany, Indiana, where I live, because they go off, and then you got to reset the modem. You got to wait 30 seconds and plug it back in. Finally, I got it back on. And when I got back on, just me, Billie Jean said, we didn't know where you went. Did you get carried? Did somebody carry you away, or what happened? I said, well, my Wi-Fi went out. He said, we've had that happen too. So when I got back on, we talked some more. We just didn't want to quit, you know it? It was so much fun. I talk too much. I got to slow down. Now, Grandma, chit-chat, Granny Pat, she don't get in a hurry. But seems like I'm always rushing through life. I do things. It's a wonder I'm still here, because I try to get things done. I tell James, we've got a big king-size bed. And when I put a clean sheet on it, I have to have help. And so he'll say, you want me to help you? I said, yes. He said, well, when? I said, not next week. I said, I want it done now. He said, right now? He said, I'll get to it in a little bit. And then he sits there and sits there and sits there, and I get plumb frustrated. Till I said, are you ready yet? Are you ready? Let's change the sheet. Sometimes I get him to go and sometimes I don't. And somebody says, does he watch your YouTube? Not much anymore. He's bored with me. He can't sit through them because some of them run too long. And he knows everything I know anyway because I tell him most everything. We share practically everything. So, no, he don't watch them anymore. Sometimes he looks at my shorts because they don't run very long, 40, 50 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes. And he'll look at them and I show them to him. And that short that I did, him wearing that thing that looked like a hat that was not a hat, it was a flotation device for a baby, that got so many views. And so Billie Jean just made Billie Jean. Y'all look him up, and some of his recipes are out of this world. So anyway, and that's a fact, Jack. Anyway, he said, I like your shorts. You just do them shorts and you just do so good, he told me. Well, I said, I just whip my phone out and I do a short wherever I'm at and whatever's going on. And he said, I just can't seem to catch on to it. Well, see, I am a person that flighty. You might call me a little flighty and a little frisky. But I mean, I get with it and I just do it right then and there while I'm thinking about it. Some I have to not run because this morning, I did one down at I erased it because that woman said stuff I don't want to repeat. We was talking about the races, and she was talking about that white-haired guy, and that runs the horses. That was he was banned for about 3 years because they claimed he was putting drugs in his horses. Bob Baffert. I said, he's got the prettiest white hair. I said, I just admire his white hair. And she said, I want his body. I said, no, I can't put that on YouTube. So I deleted it because she sounded like she really wanted his. No. We don't want his body. He's got pretty hair. But my husband's got pretty hair, and I don't want anybody else's. Man, I'm happy with what I got, but it was just too risque. Did you all see the last one, Kentucky Life with Debbie, the joke she told at the very end? Well, I told it to James, and he like to fell off his chair. Y'all have to see that one. I'm not going to tell it. Debbie, that was a good one. James just laughed. And I couldn't help but laugh too because it was a little risque. But it was funny. It wasn't bad, but it was cute. I enjoyed it. So I'm sorry that your husband is not feeling good and that you're feeling better. You got your 2 shots, she told me. Said you was going to go get them. You went and got them. What kind of shots do you get, Debbie? I wish she would tell me. Sometimes I need a couple of shots. Maybe there's a doctor around here to give me a couple of shots when I don't feel good. The thing is, thank you, Jesus, I feel good most of the time. And I am so thankful to the good Lord for that. Okay, relax a minute, everybody. Take a breath. I'm going to slow down. And just look around and watch the water flow. And drink a little coffee. Anyway, I have got some comments on those that like my longer videos. Don't too many of you watch them, but you that do say you really like them. So do whatever you feel like. That's what I figure. I do whatever I feel like, and I have been known to fast forward through some because I'm not interested in whatever they're chatting about. And that's the way I get sometimes. I'm probably not interested in whatever, you all are not interested in whatever I'm chatting about. So that's okay. Just push that on to the end, and then they pay me money. Did you know that? If you don't want to watch it all, Just fast forward to the end. They don't know the difference. YouTube don't know the difference, I don't think. I may be wrong about that. But I think you get paid on how many you get. So when you're watching it and you quit after 4 minutes, just go ahead and push it all the way through and push that button that you liked it. Because you do like what you saw, don't you? Or I hope. I don't know. Everybody's so different. Thank God for the difference in people. It makes life interesting, doesn't it? I'm glad and I'm happy and I'm enjoying life, and I thank the good Lord for all of his blessings. And I got a guy that messaged me on my timeline, and he had seen me somewhere, and I don't know how. I thought he had seen me on YouTube, and he's on Facebook and messaging, and he's a bachelor. Let's see, I forget his name, but I looked at his Facebook thing, and what happened, he's a widower, really. He's 55 years old and very nice looking, but he said he saw me and he really would like to chat with me all the time, back and forth. But you know what? I don't have time to chat with all the people privately that want to talk to me. I just don't, because I want to chat with my kids and my neighbors and read a book. I want to do other things instead of writing letters, because you do it by writing a letter or you talk to them on the phone. I don't want to take my time up doing that. I got other things I'd rather be doing. So I told him I didn't want to be a pen pal. That when I was young, 14, 15, before I got married at 16, they said there are soldiers at Fort Knox. They run this in the paper, in the Fredericksburg paper, county paper, whatever, and I read it. They are looking for pen pals to write to. They're lonely, they're away from home, the soldiers at Fort Knox, and they gave a list of addresses. So I picked one, and I wrote him a letter, and he answered, and we were pen pals, and that was kind of fun. He sent me his picture, I sent him mine, and he said, "You're so beautiful. I'm in love with you already." I thought, I'm not going to be courting somebody that's at Fort Knox. No. So I didn't write him anymore much. I wrote him 2 or 3 times, and I said, I don't want that. And I don't want to be pen pals with people nowadays. I mean, I like to chat with you a little, just like the next door neighbors. I talk with them, but I don't want them in my house sitting down for long. I'm a short-term person. I go to see my kids, okay? Buddy and I used to go. We had a motorhome. I always had a motorhome. As soon as we could afford it, I bought one. I did stuff. So we bought a motorhome, and when we wanted to go see our kids, we would, like Karen would be in Owensboro, Kentucky, or Kathy would be in Springfield, Missouri, in school. I sent her to Bible school, and that's where she found her Jewish husband. She had 2 broken engagements. She was heartbroken. She quit her scholarships in college, dropped out of college, and she came home. She was working at McDonald's, and I told her, if you're going to live here, you're going to help pay for groceries. I was so upset. And she had this big upright bass I had bought her, and she had the scholarships, and she threw them aside like they were nothing. She was about 20 years old. I sold her upright bass. I was so angry with her. We had bought her a car and everything, and sent her to college and helped pay for her books, and I was so upset. And I see, when they was 20, I'm 20 years, let's see, I was 40, because I'm 20 years older than they are. I was still pretty young. So I told her, you're going to pay. So she was working at McDonald's, and I studied, what am I going to do with this child? She's not going to have a life. You try to help your children to be independent and have a life. And so I prayed about it, and it seems like the Holy Spirit said to me, send that girl to Bible school. Well, it's 500 miles away. That's a job. And I told Buddy about it, and he said, I'm for you. It'd be good for her. She needs to go to Bible school. I wonder if Kathy will watch this one. She's sick, will be 71. May the 8th, her and Karen, her twin sister. We ended up having 3 girls, Kathy, Karen, and Kimberly, and Dennis Keith, we adopted. So he said, go ahead, send her to Bible school. I said, well, you know, in a couple of weeks, and I checked into it, all the stuff, and they were having like open house for a week, not far away. So I loaded her in the car, and we went out there. It was a long trip, 500 miles. So we went, and we met everybody, and she just loved it. She said, yes, I want to go here. Well, there was a lot of good-looking boys out there, and we met a bunch of them, plus some of her friends was going to be going there, and Sandra, her cousin, was going to be going there. And so she said, oh, yeah, okay. Well, I said, Lord, help her to find a good man of God out here. This is Bible school. Because, you know, you want your kids to be happy and settled for life in a good position to have a good life, like I was having with Buddy after he gave his heart to the Lord, after we was married 18 years. So there was all those cute guys, and there was one in the bunch that had this kind of big nose, and he had an afro haircut. I mean, it was kinky, curly, up high all over his head, and he was not handsome. So anyway, there was a lot of good-looking guys. I can't put him in that category. No way, Jose. Sorry, Richard. To make a long story short, when Thanksgiving come, and Kathy, we put her in school, and she was coming home for Thanksgiving, and she said, Mom, I've got a friend. Could I bring him home for Thanksgiving? And I have told this before, and some of you probably saw it, but it don't hurt to tell again. I'm a grandma. That's life. So when he stepped out of the car, I was in a state of shock. There were so many good-looking guys out there, but she bought the home with the man with the afro haircut, Richie Cohen. So he's the father of my grandchildren because they fell in love. And she had 2 engagement rings because the guys that she had been engaged to had called it off. No wonder her heart was broken. But Richie, finally, he healed that heart with the help of the Lord, because he was studying also. He didn't want to be a minister. He was Jewish. He wanted to learn more about the Lord because he got saved reading a book about Jesus, and it convinced him that Jesus was truly the Messiah that everybody had been looking for. And he never changed his mind to this day. He still is a fine Christian man. And now he spends some of his time in other places teaching the Jewish people that Jesus is really the Messiah. And also my grandson, David, his son, David Cohen, he had worked at that too. So they are a living example of Christianity. And David, his son, married a wonderful girl, and she's a strong Christian, and she wrote some books. And I met her last year, and I just fell in love with her. They came to the family reunion, which we'll be having again this year. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Creek, not crick. If it don't, we're going to be planning on it. And then the 17th, we're having our high school reunion, and my brother Norman's coming in. Looking forward to that. David will be there. Dennis will be there. Norman and me and Denny and David. There'll be about 4 of us there. David always comes and tells corny jokes. We always look forward to David's corny jokes. But don't forget to look at Kentucky Living with Deborah on her joke that she tells. She tells a joke every time to end her thing. You know, that's a good idea. I don't have any. She has the good ones. Maybe I'll look one up one time. Then she teases you with it, you know. Don't forget to go to the end to hear this joke. I wonder if I could find me a book, because she reads them. And the one she told last time, that was really good. James really laughed. It just sneaked up on him. And he went, ha, 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 ha. He really did get a big laugh out of that. Well, I'm going to let y'all go, my goodness. It's Friday morning. We went down to the wishing well. I didn't find anything. So James did. And I'll tell you what happened. You know, he's always borrowing things from me, and he has borrowed things, and you never see him again. So I have some hedge trimmers, and I have 2 pair of hedge trimmers in my carport that I know where they're at. So he said to me, you know, he said, I need a hedge trimmer. He said, I've got some hedges out at Sellersburg that I need to trim, and I thought I had one, he said, and I can't find it. Well, guess where the other one was? I had one, plus I had borrowed his because it was bigger, and it was in my carport. So I told him, without telling him, that one of them was his. I don't tell everything I know, but I didn't care which one he took. So I said, look out in the carport and take you one. You can have one. So he told me this morning he took one. So when we walked into not the wishing well, the Methodist, we'll go to the wishing well later, the Methodist thrift store, there was 2 hedge trimmers right there on the table, $3 a piece, electric, exactly like what he wanted. He bought both of them. Now he's got 3. He's a collector, for sure. But he left me one, and I know where I can borrow some if I need more. So he was going to Sellersburg and do some hedge trimming, I reckon. He's got some workers today. It's Friday. So good for him. I'm not going to Sellersburg. I'm going to stay right here, and I'm going to finish reading my book. And it is good. I just enjoy reading so much. Ever since I was a little girl, I have read. And one of the first books I ever read was on a movie. Daddy, when we lived in Lynchburg, Virginia, after coming down from the Skyline Drive, which we lived up in the mountains for a couple of years, when he was working with the Skyline Drive crew and building the roads, and we was in a little shack that they would pull it from site to site, and he had a job up there, got paid good. So anyway, he would take us to the movies, and he took us to this movie that was about treasures, hidden treasure, and they go through the jungles to a cave and find it. And they said, and this movie is based on a book, and they gave the name. Well, I thought I would love to read that book. I wonder, I was in the 3rd grade. Well, I started school late because my birthday was in September, so I was 9 years old. And I wonder if our library has that at our school, because we had a real good school. They taught music, you know, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and that. And we had choir, the kids would sing, and the teacher separated us who could sing and who couldn't, and songbirds. And I was in the 2nd group because I couldn't carry a tune. I still sing, but I can't carry a tune very well. So anyhow, I was in the lower group, but I did learn do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Back to that book. So I asked the teacher, I said, is that book, and I had the name of it, in the library? And she said, yes, it is. And I said, well, can I check it out? She said, no, you can't. I said, why not? I go to school here. She said, it's for adults. I said, well, I saw the movie and it was really good and I want to read it. She said, you would have to have permission from your mom. Bring a note from your mother and we will let you check it out. Well, Mom gave me a note and I checked it out. And that was one of the first books that I read. I didn't know all the words, but it was fantastic. I learned a lot of stuff, how, you know, words that I didn't know. And now, today, I have a good vocabulary because I started reading. I used to take those Reader's Digest tests. Now, my girlfriend, Joyce Crane, who just recently, went that pictures again. I don't like that. I got to fix that. Let me see if I can. Don't want to have that. We'll just turn it off. Just a blank and back. Anyway, Joyce would always, she was really a reader too, and me and her both could get those, we could, on that Reader's Digest, the vocabulary, how many do you know? Well, it was very seldom that they did a word that me or Joyce didn't know, and we'd call each other and say, how did you do this month? How did you do this month? And we would share how well we did. And so I got a vocabulary. I can't spell them, but I know what it means, which is fun. I have run into some words I don't know, and even now, sometimes, I just look them up and research it. Still learning something all the time. That's what I try to do, is keep my brain active, keep my body active. Oh, where was I? Oh, yeah, that book. So I read it, and from then on, I didn't check out any more adult books, but I started checking out books I could read for young people. And when I was little, and I went to Sunday school, which I did when I was very little, when I was going to Sunday school by myself at the Assembly of God Church in Ewing, Virginia, which is right at the beginning of Smith Holler. And we lived in a little red house, and I could walk to the church. Now, Mom and Dad didn't go to that church, but they had Sunday school for the kids, and my Aunt Amanda, Daddy's younger sister, who was 12 or 13, would read us the story and thing about in Sunday school about Jesus saving the one little lamb, or in the fishing boat, and they had pictures, and I collected those for years when I went there, because we stayed there a good long while. And that's when I had my first cat, Big Bum, and he had 3 legs because he had caught one in a trap, and he lost that leg. But Big Bum, we was going to take him up into the Smoky Mountains with us, but Daddy put him in the cardboard box, and we lost him. But when we got to Cumberland Gap, Daddy bought me a baby doll that its eyes would open and close. But Big Bum found him a new home. You can't keep a cat in a cardboard box. My daddy should have known better than that, because he said you can take your cat. So now I've made up for it by having cats all my life, one way or the other. We even had cats on the evangelistic field, in our fifth wheels, in our big trailers, in our 45-foot fifth wheel. We had one cat. We was down in Del Rio, Texas, holding a revival. That's right by the border. You know, my daughter Karen was a school teacher, and she's retired now, and she was a school teacher in a Catholic school down there in Del Rio, Texas, and we wanted to see them, and their kids was little, and so we wrote the church, and they invited us to come on hold revival. So we went down there, and we had a kitty cat that we just loved, and she got out of the trailer. And when it got time to leave, we couldn't get her. She went under this little shed, and there was a couple of sheds there, and she got under one of them, and we was ready to go, and we couldn't get her. And always she'd just get out and wander around, and she'd get back in the trailer, no problem. Anywhere we was at, because we was a lot in country churches, wherever. And so, we went all over the country, but it was fun. So, and sometimes it was really lonely. But anyway, she wouldn't come. So this couple that lived there had a couple of little dogs. And so I said, could we borrow your dogs to chase our cat? And they said they would love that. I said, well, we're trying to get her another trailer, so we'll open the door, and you turn your dogs loose on that side of the little shed. So they turned their dogs loose, and they saw her, and they started barking. I tell you what, that cat was lickety-split. Right back in the camper. We solved that problem with the help of the Lord and them little dogs. Anyhow, when we was in Del Rio, Karen's little kids gave their heart to the Lord. And Brian and Dina have never changed. But Kara has had her times back and forth. But I think she's okay now, because she's been doing good, and we're happy. She's got a little boy baby, and he's about 2.5 years old now, and he's a pistol. You know, that's what you say about these little boys, that you can't get potty trained. He's not potty trained yet, and he's learning to talk, and he hollers all the time, and Karen sends us videos. And I did put one on, and it's got so many views, because he was playing a game with his grandpa, Mike Brown, down in South Carolina, chasing him around and around. And I think it's our #1 hit that we ever put on, was Mike chases. him, I forget if, I think he was chasing Mike, trying to catch Mike. I don't remember. I haven't looked at it lately, but it was cute as it could be. So I put stuff like that on ever so often. But I'm going to let you go. Heavens to Murgatroyd. I'm pulling a Granny Pat today. I have went like 36 minutes. Heavens. My goodness. I'm surprised, but I've had a good time. My feet are done, and my coffee's cooled completely down. I like it when it's cool. It don't matter. I can read my book now and drink my coffee and maybe watch some Hannity. I multitask. My husband watches TV a lot at the house, and I'll have my iPad in front of me. Now, the reason I could see Billie Jean when he called in last night is because I had my iPad right there. So when he was FaceTiming, there he was. I said, my heavens, there's Billie Jean. And so we had a good time. I hope y'all enjoy this video. Now, do like I said, you that go all the way through, just push it all the way through to the end. And my money will go up. And I enjoy my money, honey. You know, it's not that I need it that bad. But you know, the Bible says, a laborer is worthy of their hire. So am I worthy of my hire to YouTube? I mean, they're making money on me. It'd be nice to make a little money on them, and it is. So last month, it was under $200. It was about $185.36 or something. But I like to go out and eat on it, and I can treat that husband, and I treated him to Golden Corral. Yum. And we don't do that often. But thanks to y'all, Grandma Lois can take her sweet husband to the Golden Corral, which is, they are so good. We don't do that often, like I said, because I'm trying to stay on that diet, eat less, but I'm intending right now to probably warm this coffee up and eat that half a donut that I have waiting for me. 37 minutes? I don't think I've ever went 37 minutes. But that's what's happening. So God bless you all, and you walk that path where Jesus would be pleased with you. And our friend Bobby had a peaceful going. His name, his obituary, his sister, James's secretary, sent us the obituary. And the funeral will be Monday at 1 o'clock. So anyhow, we'll go to that. He was 69 years old, had some wonderful children and grandchildren, and his wife is on Facebook, and she's always putting verses on, and I use some of her verses sometimes. I just look into her Facebook because she is a woman of God, and I have met her several times, and she's a sweet Republican. And so, and her and I have a lot in common. She had a wonderful husband. He got delivered from alcohol when he was a grown man, and told me how God delivered him from whiskey. So he had a wonderful testimony, and now he has graduated, and he's with the Lord. You know, honey, that's what all of us are looking. I mean, what is after this? We have something to really look forward to. Those that don't have the Lord have nothing to look forward to, and I'm afraid they might end up where they don't want to be. So accept Jesus Christ as your personal Savior. Just talk to him wherever you're at. And I've said this before. You could accept Jesus sitting on the potty. He hears you wherever you're at, children. I can call all of you children because I don't think any of you hardly is 91 years old yet. And I tell you what, God is good all the time. Walk that path, children. What would please the Lord. Bye-bye. Talk to you later.